would I do if I knew that I could not fail?
Hello, and welcome to Wake Up with Wendy, Discover the Magic of You. My name is Wendy Capland, host and guide into uncovering what's next for you personally and professionally. Many people reach a time in their lives when they start to ask, is this all there is? Is this it? Has this ever happened to you? If you're someone who is looking for something more, maybe you have a job that feels stale, or you've been laid off recently, or afraid you might be soon. Many of us are realizing there must be something more. That part of our life that doesn't quite feel satisfying enough. Maybe you have a dream you haven't yet explored, or a life path you have yet to follow. Life paths can be anything from spiritual, personal, or career-related. This may be the perfect time in your life for you to explore what might be next for you and take a step forward in that direction. Isn't it time you reevaluated? Isn't it time you awakened the dreamer inside of you? This show is all about you, helping you discover yourself and what's magical about you and what can you do about it, helping you find out what's next for you in your life. And if not now, then when will you even get started? So let's see if in today's show you get some inkling or even a big aha for yourself. Now let's have a little fun, because I think that figuring out what's next for us in our lives can be fun, sort of like a treasure hunt, wondering what surprise might be just around the corner waiting for us to discover. And it's a lot better than the alternative of taking whatever situation we find ourselves in all so seriously, which doesn't necessarily give us any better answers and sometimes just makes us more miserable. So today, our special guest is Lisa Campion. Lisa has a very special gift which she discovered at a very early age, which she's going to talk to us about. And I think Lisa has a story that many of us share, and that is discovering a gift or a talent that we have when we are a young child. And that for many of us, life seems to take over and our gift gets forgotten or pushed down in our lives. So as you listen to Lisa tell her story, think about what part of her story may have some meaning for you. I love hearing other people's stories because they always give us some message for ourselves. So as you listen to her today, ask yourself, did she take a step along her path that you could be taking? Did she react in a certain way that you might react right now? Or by listening to her, you know for sure that you are meant to do just the opposite, and that's the message that you're meant to hear. So I'm very excited to welcome Lisa to our show today.
Thanks, Wendy.
You're welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
So Lisa, why don't we start by you just telling us a little bit about yourself and what your gift is, and just tell us your story.
Well, a part of my life is pretty ordinary. I'm a mother. I've got 4 children and a wonderful husband. But I have a very magical job, and that is that I work as a professional psychic. And I have been doing that since I was 19, which was quite some time ago now. And I really enjoy, I have a healing practice and see clients every week for healings and psychic readings. And I think that my gift, the way that I'm enjoying it right now, is to really help people either open, I teach a lot too, so I teach psychic development classes, and I love helping people discover the psychic in them to help them get in touch with their intuitive selves and their intuitive natures, to open up their psychics.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
As you're sort of describing it. So some people may not know what being psychic means. You said you refer to yourself as a psychic, and that's what you do for work.
Yeah.
So can you describe a little bit about what that is?
Well, the way that I do it is through something called channeling. So I'm a channeler, and I generally talk to people's spirit guides when they come in for a session. So I talk to loved ones that have crossed over, or also speaking directly to your spirit guides. And I find that's very helpful for people when they come in. Usually they're coming in, they're having an issue, they're in a transition in their life, they're looking for some direction. And the guides are able to take a step back and look at their life from the soul perspective. So a lot of times you'll have the experience of, if your soul could come down and talk to you, what would it tell you? What advice would it give you? How would it encourage you, direct you, help you, at whatever transition point you find yourself in?
Okay, great. So some people may not even know what a spirit guide is. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we all have spiritual beings that are around us. They guide us, they protect us, they teach us. And sometimes they are the spirits of loved ones who have crossed over. Sometimes they're angels or even animals. Everybody sort of has a different cast of characters around them that are their spirit guides.
Great. So everybody has a spirit guide?
Everybody has spirit guides.
At least more than one.
At least more than one. And a lot of times people know that, when you're a child, if you're with your children, they had imaginary friends.
Yes.
It's very common for children to speak to, like when my son was little, he was still about 4, and that's an age when we haven't forgotten yet that we're psychic. And he would say, that his grandfather was sitting on the edge of his bed. I don't think he even met him.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
And he would say, Pops is here and he's sitting on the edge of my bed, and that's who he was talking to.
So you found your gift when you were very young. So I've heard a little bit of your story, but I'd love for you to tell us it because I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a funny story, really, sort of an unusual life, but I was definitely one of those I see dead people kids, and always had the experience of being able to see things, hear things, know things that other people couldn't see from the time I was a kid. And really, actually, my very, very first memory as a child was when I was lying in my crib, so I was really young, and all around the edge of my crib were people that I recognized that were smiling, laughing, blowing kisses. And then my mother opened the door and walked into the room, and they all disappeared.
You remember this?
I remember that.
No kidding. How old do you think you were?
I was still in a crib, so I must have really just been a baby.
Wow.
2 tops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. Part of your story that I've heard before is when you were in school and how you didn't quite fit in. I think a lot of people feel like their gift, whatever their gift and talent is, doesn't matter what it is, it feels like they don't fit in.
Yeah, and I definitely didn't at that time. And I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and back then there was no New Age movement, there was no John Edwards on TV or Medium or Ghost Whisperer. There was nothing like that. There was very little out there, so it was very strange, odd. My poor parents didn't know what to do with me. And I remember being in about 3rd grade and telling my friends I could see colors, I could see auras around them. And they just thought that was the strangest thing, and I really, nobody talked to me until I was, in 7th grade after that, because it was not something that was, generally accepted. And
they thought you were weird.
They thought it was weird, yeah. So I don't know if they just thought it was weird or if they were frightened or,
yeah,
whatever.
So as life went on after 7th grade, then what?
Well, I had unusual parents. My parents were very liberal, sort of hippie types, and they took me to transcendental meditation when I was about 7 years old, and I learned how to meditate. I don't know if you remember transcendental meditation, but you would go and the guru would be there, and you'd bring flowers. It was a big thing in the 70s. And the guru from India took me aside and taught me how to meditate. And he said to me, if you had been a child in our culture, we would teach you. That's not going to happen to you. He's speaking through a translator. You're going to have to learn on your own, but it will be okay. And it was really true. I had people come into my life through various stages of my life who were really instrumental in helping me refine my gift, teach my gift, teach me how to use it a little better. My parents, again, when I was 12, they took me to this program called Silva Mind Control. It's called the Silva Method now. And it teaches meditation techniques, so I learned, how to really focus my mind and meditate. And that was the first time I heard about guides, because they talk about